Bienvenidas al show de Chingona Living. Hoy tengo como invitada a una persona muy especial. This is going to be a conversación entre amigas. It's going to be Spanglish because that is how we roll. Yo soy tu coach y tu amiga Anabel Quintanilla, spiritual life coach for Chingonas. My title changes every time I introduce myself. That's a conversation for a different day. I have Marisol Palomino, self-love coaching with Marisol from Central Texas. ¿Cómo estás, amiga?
Hola amiga y hola a todas las amigas aquí. Muy bien, muy agradecida de ser invitada a tu podcast y de tener esta conversación y conocernos un poquito más. Muchísimas gracias por
Gracias.
invitarme, Anabel. Es
Y
un gusto,
gracias
de
por
verdad.
decir que sí. I really am very
Supuesto.
grateful. For those of you who are listening, the intention for today's conversation is going to be to share a little bit about what we do, what our medicine looks like, and if it resonates with you, si te cae el 20 como te tiene que caer y quieres saber un poquito más de cómo trabajar con nosotras, pues you'll have the ability to do so. I fell in love with your handle. I met you on TikTok, self love coach. I think that's what it is, but I like self love, and that's who you are on Instagram. I did a little story this morning talking about my conversation with my nurse practitioner and how I was going to have another interesting conversation with self-love Marisol today. I want you to tell me what self-love means.
It's such when I started my social media account, it came out after like a really, really difficult time for me. I have been someone who has historically struggled with depression and anxiety. And, my son was born with some health issues. And after he was born, like that became my mission, like mom that was my entire mission. I lost completely all sense of everything that I was as a woman, as a person, just everything. Like the only role that I knew was mom. Then the pandemic hit and like my depression and my anxiety hit an all-time high. And that's when my parenting, my mothering started to be impacted. And when that happened, I was like, no, it is absolutely time to get help. One of the biggest things with my depression was the criticism, the negative self-talk. I mean, I was horrible, horrible to myself mentally. After I got myself in therapy, the biggest challenge was learning how to be kind to myself and like learning how to love myself because it was just a constant criticism of everything. I'm a horrible mother. I'm a horrible wife. I'm a horrible daughter. I'm a horrible, all of this. And so I had to learn how to love myself again, how to love Marisol at the core of who she was. So find her first because she was in there still, but I had to do a lot of digging and then learn how to love her. And so I took that same approach to, get back into my career because I was always a career-driven person. And so for me, when it comes to self-love, it's a mindset. It really is. It's like, I feel like it's a driving force. You connect with yourself, you learn to love yourself, you learn to support yourself, to accept all parts of you, defects and all the dark parts, all the ugly parts, everything. And just support yourself. And so I had gotten myself back into my career, back into the mental health field. And it was like one little thing that I had to do because I'd been thinking about social media for a long, long, long time, like studying it, like watching all, people online. I'm like, I can do that. I can get out there. I can share my story. I can encourage women because I know for damn sure I'm not the only woman who's ever gone through what I went through. And that's when I like launched my social media account and I really do try to just focus on that, the importance of loving yourself as women. We're so damn hard on ourselves, and
Yeah.
especially as Latinas, it's
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not taught. it's not encouraged. It's
Mm-mm.
like learning a new language. But
Mhm.
for me, it was literally like learning a new language.
Yeah.
And
And
so,
it's hard as Latinas, and then it's even harder as madres Latinas
yes.
because I don't know if you grew up hearing the same thing, but I did. Primero somos madres y luego mujer. And
Exacto.
it's like we have it so backwards in our cultura that it's like, ¿cómo voy a ser buena madre si no soy buena mujer, si no
Exacto.
soy buena hacia mí misma?
Mhm.
And it's not a unique story that we hear that it wasn't until our parenting, our mothering started to suffer. Qué interesante que nos tratamos, I curse, nos
Mhm.
tratamos para la chingada, pero
Exacto.
no es hasta que le empieza a afectar a otras personas, a nuestros hijos, que
Mhm.
hacemos el cambio. Right? It's
Exacto.
not until it starts to affect our young ones
Mhm.
or other people that we start to consider changing. I mean, we will treat ourselves like crap.
Absolutely.
Why? Aside from programming, what do you think it is? What do you think is happening? I don't like what is happening at our nervous system level that allows that kind of behavior to continue?
I think, and especially for me, it was just this constant sense of surviving, something, lo que siempre decían mi papá y mi mamá, pues le tienes que seguir adelante, puro para adelante, y no importa, no importa lo que pasa, no importa las tragedias que pasen, de todos modos tienes que trabajar, tienes que darle de comer a tus hijos, tienes que seguir para adelante, and our nervous system is just constantly on survival mode until it breaks and crashes like it like it did with me. Like I just crashed. It
Yeah.
just got to the point.
And another thing that I find really interesting, and it's also not uncommon, is that you have been in the mental health industry for 16,
Mhm.
almost 17 years.
Mhm.
And it happened to you too.
Yes, absolutely. No one is immune. And and I've always been in touch, like known that, okay, I know I have depression. I know I have anxiety. Well, maybe the anxiety piece was the one I hadn't wrapped my head around, but the depression piece definitely always, because I also know like all of the generational trauma that I was carrying too, es lo que vi, mi mamá y mi papá nomás trabajar. No importaba qué es lo que estaba pasando, trabajar and provide for your family. So it was like, it was what helped me be an amazing mother to my son when he really needed it the most. Like he needed una mamá chingona that was going to go advocate and do the research and talk to all the doctors and all of this stuff to make sure that he was going to be healthy and happy and, live a healthy life. But at the same time, it is also it was what destroyed me. That mindset was, what I never set time aside to take care of myself. I never set time aside to, to grieve the challenges that came with my particular motherhood journey. So, yeah, it can be your driving force, but it'll also
Yeah.
it can also be your downfall
Yeah.
because my son needed not only did he need an amazing mother, but he needed, the Marisol version of that mother to
Yeah.
be okay, to be
Yeah.
healthy.
And I think we miss that. We miss that when it comes to mothering, that we really
Mhm.
think that it's an outpouring of love and action for our children. And we forget that in order for us to have anything to pour out, we got to give. We have to pour in,
Absolutely.
right? We got to give to ourselves first. And so I'm really grateful that you're bringing that up. Hablaste un poquito de la depresión y que has
Mhm.
vivido con esto por mucho tiempo.
Mhm.
¿Cómo se siente la depresión? ¿Cómo lo describirías?
Ay, mira, cuando para mí, porque a mí me encanta la comida. Me encanta la comida cuando, me encanta cocinar, me encanta decorar mis platillos, que se vean bien bonitos, like artistic. Entonces, como yo describía mi vida con depresiones, un platillo de comida que tenía todos los elementos, tenía sus colores, sus proteínas y se miraba bonito.
Mhm.
Porque, my life, y esto era part of the reason why I was so hard on myself, because, I have a wonderful marriage, a supportive spouse, a supportive family. I'm a queer Latina, but my family has just supports me. Just this outpouring of support, a job, a house, like all of the elements are there, pero el platillo de comida no tenía nada de sabor, nada.
Mm.
Nada,
Mm.
nada, nada de sabor. And what's more devastating than that? You
Yeah,
dive into a plate of food that looks delicious and it just tastes like nothing.
yeah.
No había excitement. I learned how to I learned how to go with the motions for so long that I didn't know what it meant to feel joy and what it meant to feel happy. So
Yeah.
it was like all of those things I had to learn how to do again when I reconnected with myself.
Oh my gosh. I mean, creo que lo describiste súper profundo. I mean, it was very well said, and I think that that's going to land with a lot of people who can't pinpoint exactly what's happening. Because it's true, estamos tan acostumbradas a la supervivencia that we go and we go and we go, and then we stop and we look around and we realize that I don't feel the joy. I don't feel the zest for life. There's no flavor to my food, but then the guilt.
The
But you
guilt.
have a good life. ¿De qué
Mhm,
te quejas?
mhm.
Mira, tal persona y tal persona, ellos sí la tienen mal, ella sí la tiene mal, pobrecita. Pero tú de qué te quejas? And I don't think that this conversation or seeking help is about complaining.
Right.
It's about saying todo esto que tengo quisiera disfrutarlo.
Mhm.
Um, ¿Cuál es la diferencia entre la depresión y la ansiedad? Because you said anxiety was something new for you. What is the difference for you?
And I think it was like labeling it, porque siempre que growing up notaba que mi mamá, o sea, ansiosa, but we didn't think about it in that way. Like she would get to her limit and just get so overwhelmed. And so when I look back, I'm like, mi mamá tenía mucha ansiedad all throughout her life and never got any help for it. And then I started to notice that within me, and it took so long to like figure out, is it anxiety? What is it? Because I just thought it was like you just get so used to it because you're just in survival mode. Like you learn to live with it, with a little bit of anxiety. Pero después de the pandemic, I started getting ataques de pánico just out of nowhere. And it felt like a heart attack at first. And so I had to like coach myself because, it's like I know what panic attacks feel like. I just never had them before to that point. Pero como inquietud, no podía relajar, no podía dormir y descansar. Like mi mente was always, always going. Y pues cuando venían los ataques de pánico, pues batallar para poder respirar tranquilamente. And then cuando hablé con mi therapist y con mi psychiatrist, she said that I had anxiety-induced depression, that I just had
Mm,
got so used to being with the anxiety that my body just became so overwhelmed. And then that's whenever those bouts of depression would
yeah,
come in
yeah.
for me.
I see it a lot in my clients. Anxiety is really the driving force between our nervous system being in fight or flight.
Mhm.
And we push fight or flight hasta que ya no podemos empujar más. And then the depression kicks in, and the depression puts us in freeze or fawn.
Yep.
Nos congelamos tanto que chinga su madre, sure, whatever.
Yeah.
And then we can't move. There's no decision making. There's no action whatsoever. And then there's the, yeah, okay, sure. Yeah, there's that giving in that because we just have nothing more to
Mhm.
fight with. We nothing more.
Mhm.
And so those cycles, um, I have really only experienced depression postpartum.
Mhm.
Um, and it was very short-lived. I think because I immediately kicked into survival mode, and so I my body knew that it doesn't like the way it feels. It was very turned off, but if we needed to stay alive, then we needed to kick into gear. And so then I realized that my fight flight really comes from a lot, and I still experience a lot of
Mhm.
anxiety today.
Mhm.
The depression only postpartum, and when I first started my perimenopausal journey, there
Mhm.
was I can look back and really recognize that period of my life where me sentía apagada,
Mhm.
sentía una oscuridad fea,
Mhm.
una pesadez fea y
Mhm.
I mean, tuve conversaciones con mis hijos, con mi marido, tuve conversaciones con mis hermanas that I was like, listen, I'm just telling you this because you have the right to know. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want you to try to help me. I'm just going through the motions. I hate my fucking life. And I have an amazing life. I
Mhm.
have an amazing life. I
Mhm.
remember sitting standing in my kitchen one day and I had a friend, this was during pandemic. She moved in with us right before the pandemic hit,
Mhm.
and so we did COVID together. Um,
Mhm.
and I remember, I mean, I have a lot of love for this friend of mine. I've known her since we were, in our 14, 15, 16 years old. A lot of love, but I remember standing in the kitchen and saying to her, like, please don't be offended. I hate you. I hate me. I hate my husband. I hate life. Pero lo dije de una manera, no por herirla, por,
Right.
pero porque no podía, no sabía qué otra manera, qué otras palabras
Mhm.
usar para
Mhm.
describir lo negro, la oscuridad que yo tenía por dentro,
Mhm.
which was very unlike me. Because,
Mhm.
if you know me, I'm a cheerleader, I'm happy-go-lucky. And that was just that period of my life that I did not, it was dark.
And
Y la
really.
ansiedad ahora me viene todavía porque reconozco que tengo un ego, que tengo un sistema nervioso que es like,
Yeah.
and I feel it. And then because I'm very intuitive, I also can like stop and ask myself, like, is this mine? And most of the time, the anxiety that I feel is not. It's
Yeah.
it's the collective, it's the energy, right? Porque
Yes.
estamos conectadas con otros seres, especialmente seres divinos, y so siento sus
Mhm.
frecuencias. And it's like
Mhm.
so interesting. My
It
husband now can
is.
read into it. My daughter's very intuitive. Both of them are. So ahora les digo, es que todo el día he tenido ansiedad, pero no me debilita.
Right.
Right? Anxiety for me is no longer a debilitating thing, where depression was very debilitating.
Mhm.
And I did do a lot of tapping and a
Mhm.
lot of self-coaching. Uso mis aceititos.
Mhm.
Tell me a little bit about the tools you would use to self-coach yourself.
Oh, yes. So first therapy, I really, for me, it was absolutely, I had a lot of unresolved trauma. And so that was a must. Therapy, psychiatry, I have been doing meditation now for ¿cuántos años? Ya casi 10 años.
Mhm.
And and now it's just shaped into my quiet time to connect and to be with myself, with Marisol, and learning over time that mi día tiene que empezar así. Tengo que empezar todas mis mañanas con hacer algo para mí.
Mhm.
Quiet, aunque sean 5 minutos, 10 minutos, nomás para calmar mi mente, calmar mi alma, mi cuerpo, antes de que empiece todo the madness of the day. So, mi meditation y ir a caminar, salir afuera a caminar es algo que me ha ayudado muchísimo, especialmente cuando mi ansiedad estaba like really, really bad. Lo sentía en el cuerpo y tenía que mover de alguna manera. O me ponía a caminar aquí en la casa o me iba para afuera a caminar, a sacar esa energía y sacarme de mi mente. Journaling también es algo que me ha ayudado y últimamente leo. Me
Mhm.
encanta leer. Es algo que me ha ayudado, like, oh my God, I love it. It has helped me so much in this past
Yeah,
year and a half. Si
yeah.
tengo un día estresante y no puedo callar la mente, me pongo a leer, así
Mhm.
para no pensar, distraerme y distraerme en algo saludable. And
Yes.
algo que, it's going to make me happy, it's going to make me smile.
Yeah.
Y ya van a ser 2 años que decidí tratar la medicina. And, for me, it was algo que, like, okay, years and years of thinking about.
Yeah.
Pero the anxiety it was too much.
Yeah. It,
It was affecting everything, my job. And
mm,
I had to, and I gave it a try, and it has really changed. It
yeah.
has really changed for me. So,
I love
um,
that. Because there's such a stigma. And
mhm,
I have a confession. I was one of the health coaches that totally stigmatized
mhm,
mental health medicine and SSRIs. And I was like, don't
mhm.
take that. Don't take that. And now I'm
Me
like,
too.
but why not? I mean, it's a tool,
Mhm,
it's a tool. Like, it's like, don't use essential oils, don't tap, don't meditate, like, just willpower. And it's
mhm.
like, dude, I'm part of the fucking problem, you know? Like,
Mhm,
I'm continuing to create the same problem that we
mhm.
have by stigmatizing the tool. It's
And
the
I
tool.
did the same. I did the same too.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people like medication. I will try any medication if unless I absolutely need it, like si me enfermo, whatever, allergies, todo. But yeah, then
Yeah.
I realized, well, you got to get over it, Marisol, because you have to at least give it a try. Just
Love
like you did,
yourself enough to use the
ex
tool.
to use the tool. Yeah, to use the tool.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Mhm.
Um, don't tell us what it is that you specifically work through with your psychiatrist. Dijiste que tuviste que trabajar mucho trauma con tu psiquiatra, pero también antes de eso habías mencionado el trauma generacional.
Mhm.
You said there was a lot of generational, you didn't say trauma, but you said like generational stuff that I had to work through. And I
Mhm.
think that generational healing and generational trauma can be
Mhm.
either a very trendy
Yeah.
topic
Mhm.
or it's like totally BS.
Right.
So you're either in one of these camps, but I really, because I was like, it's BS at one point,
Mhm.
and now I'm understanding. I really am understanding lineage. I'm understanding
Mhm.
like el linaje. Estoy entendiendo lo que es las herencias generacionales. I mean, just yesterday and today, I was having conversations with my daughters about how, like, listen, when you were in my womb and I was 4 months pregnant with you already had all of the eggs that you were going to be born with, which means that Catalea was
Mhm.
already in you when you were 4 months in me.
Mhm.
And my other daughter's pregnant, and I said, that means that Elizabeth was already in you when you were in me. So when we understand biology and how things work, even at a cellular level,
Absolutely.
¿cómo vamos a negar que existen condiciones generacionales? Like,
Exacto.
you can't deny it. So, what
Okay.
is something that surprised you about your generational healing journey?
Mm, man, that's a big question. Hmm. I think the thing that surprised me the most was I had an opportunity que ni mi mamá, ni mi abuela, ni mi bisabuela en back no tenían, que era la oportunidad de cuidarme, la oportunidad de sanar, de pedir ayuda, porque ellas, their circumstances, whether they wanted help from somebody, there was nobody. There was nobody to help them. Mi abuela paternal vivía her marriage was full of domestic violence. And there just wasn't anywhere for her to go to get help. Y del lado de mi mamá, single mom, viviendo en la pobreza en México con 7 hijos y just trying to figure it out. O sea, su manera de vivir era simplemente sobrevivir de un día para el otro y darle de comer a sus hijos. Y mi mamá fue casi igual. Mis papás se separaron bien jóvenes, yo tenía 7 años, pero looking back, mi mamá también, she was just trying to survive her entire, I mean, she did the best that she could raising us. She was able to get a little bit more help and a little bit more support from family, from friends. You know, she had bigger circles than mis abuelitas y mi bisabuela. So it was like, qué privilegio tengo de poder recibir ayuda, de sanar, no simplemente por mí, pero por mi mamá y por mis abuelas también. And when that sunk in, it was just like, at the same time, it made me so sad that that's how they had to live their lives and that they never were able to heal or learn to love themselves or shit, be able to freaking rest or
Just
have somebody to take care of them. Like they never had that. So at the same time, it broke my heart, but then it was like, but I get to change that. I get to change that for the generations to come. And I get to heal all of that ugliness that was passed down, all the depression, because, I'm sure after everything I've said, it kind of makes sense. Like, well, that's where your anxiety and your depression came
yeah,
from. The women in my family just historically have not had easy lives at all.
yeah.
And did I answer your question?
You did.
Oh,
Thank you. And more
such an
importantly,
emotional.
thank you for that. Thank you for sharing yourself so openly and so vulnerably. Mucho respeto, porque sé que no ha sido fácil todo lo que has tenido que desaprender y aprender. Y lo has hecho, creo que de una manera con mucha gracia y I commend you because it's really
Gracias.
not easy. Um, One of the questions that I love to ask my clients is because you get this a lot, pues así soy, and that's how I am. Well, when I ask my clients, it's like, well, who taught you to be that way? ¿Dónde lo aprendiste?
Mhm.
And we stop and we like they really think it's like, wow, I learned that from my mom. I learned
Mhm.
that from my dad. I learned that from my grandpa. I learned that from one of the things that hablaste de la violencia doméstica y nosotros tenemos historias de mi abuelita materna, cosas que ella nos contaba de lo que era la vida con mi abuelito.
Mhm.
We never saw my grandfather that way because we got the
Mhm.
very senior citizen version
Yes.
of him. Pero I can imagine when he was a young man que le decían el chino, like así le decían
Mhm.
el chino, and he was very tall, very, very light, fair skin, ojos de color, de raíces españolas, and so it's like castellano, like I can imagine. Yo cuando los recuerdos que tengo de mi abuelito ya estaba pelón.
Yeah.
So it's like once upon a time they called him El Chino because he used to have really curly hair, but I'm like, I met the man with no hair.
With no
Um,
hair, I know.
so it's like I
Mhm.
hear those stories. And when I started my self healing journey, which is really more than self healing, it's generational healing.
It is.
Pasé por unas etapas de mucho duelo. Like there was a lot of grief and
Mhm.
also there was a lot of anger
Mhm.
because there was a lot of silence.
Mhm.
If you go back on my Instagram, you see the me that was just like it was just English. And
Mhm.
then you kind of see the me that was like, I'm gonna talk Spanish too. And then
Mhm.
it was like, like I would I would post in English and then I would translate into Spanish. And I did that for a few years. And I always had in my head, like, ¿qué va a decir la gente?
Mhm.
No, esas cosas no se dicen. Mija,
Mhm.
esas, y no baje la voz.
Mhm.
And I remember my grandmother's fear
Mhm.
because she tells a story about, coming here in September of 1963 and her and my godmother, whom I call mom today,
Mhm.
because she's my mom's sister and my mom passed away when I was 14. So my godmother became my mom.
Mhm.
But they tell the story about coming to Southern California in September of 1963 and you know being very dark skinned and don't raise hell, like don't let yourself be seen, don't let yourself be heard, y learn English and assimilate. And so yo aprendí a apagar muchas partes de mí
Mhm. Me
y a
too.
no mostrarme auténticamente, a
Mhm.
no compartirme completamente con nadie,
Mhm.
including in my marriages, right? And so when I began my healing journey, I did go through those 5 stages of grief, including
Mhm.
the anger,
Mhm.
the why didn't you have the courage? Why didn't you teach us to speak up? Why didn't you, grandma? And then it's
Mhm.
like because she was in survival mode and her way of surviving was really just
Mhm.
functional freeze, right? It
Mhm.
was kind of a functional freeze. There was no fighting back.
Yeah.
There was no jumping around. Like you came here to do a job, so baja la cabeza y
Mhm.
haz lo que tienes que hacer. And so it was like a functional freeze for her. Um, and it was then I went through the sadness, right?
Mhm.
Then I went through the sadness of like she had nobody to advocate for her. And then you get to this level of acceptance where you're like, yeah, okay, that was her that was her fate. Now this is mine. Qué privilegio y también qué responsabilidad.
Yeah.
Porque tenemos el privilegio, sí, qué cosa tan bonita, pero ahora también cargamos la responsabilidad de crear cambios,
Mhm.
porque la vida no puede continuar así. No
No.
para mí, no para mis hijos,
No.
no para mis nietos.
No.
Right? So like this morning, Catalea was crying. My daughter was on a call before I picked her up. She was crying and I went over there and I was like, look, I love you. Abuela te quiere mucho, eres una de las cosas más importantes en mi vida y porque eres algo muy importante por mí, abuela se tiene que meter a la oficina a hacer algo que también es importante porque
Mhm.
vamos a crear cambios generacionales que van a beneficiarte. And I'm having this conversation with my 3-month-old granddaughter. Like she's like, uh-huh, just give me milk, grandma, But it's like we have to change
Oh,
the language around the way that we do things and the way that we show up
yes.
because we're not continuing the trauma, right? So, eso es un poquito de lo que yo viví. Quiero saber cómo le hablas a tu hijo.
Mm.
¿Qué le estás inculcando a tu hijo? What is your child learning from you that you did not learn from your parents?
Mm. Yes. O sea, mira, cuando yo estaba chiquita, it was very much so children are meant to be seen, not heard. And was never asked for opinions about anything. Cuando mis papás se separaron, hubieron muchos cambios. Nobody checked in on the children. Nobody asked the
Kids are
children.
resilient. Kids are
Exactly.
resilient. They're fine. They don't know what's going on.
That's right. So I grew up thinking that it didn't matter, that it just didn't matter how I felt. And I did not want that for my son. And so we have very open conversations, very honest, very accepting about, emotions and letting it out because historically the men and just in general in my family, emotions were you just don't have time for emotions. But mira, para que sepas un poquito cuando murió mi abuelita, mi papá estaba muy triste. But he said, pero ¿para qué me voy a poner a llorar? No hay tiempo para llorar. Tengo que seguir adelante. You just have to keep going. And
Yeah.
that's just how it was. There's, ¿para qué? And so it's the opposite in our home. It is the opposite and check in because how my son feels. I want him to always know that it matters and that I know that my decisions will affect him because my parents' decisions affected me, but nobody ever checked in on me. And so that is the one thing that I try to do and just open conversation. And I am very matter of fact. There's no topic that's taboo in our home. We talk about everything like it's anything.
Love it.
And because I want to normalize that. Well, I want us to have conversations here so that you don't go get educated from the streets. Like,
Hmm.
let me educate you. And let this just be a safe space where we can talk because it never happened.
Oh, I
It didn't
love
feel
that.
safe. It didn't feel safe to just have conversations about anything.
Yeah.
You have questions. Pues yo qué sé. ¿Para qué quieres saber eso?
Yeah. ¿Tú no necesitas saber
No
eso?
necesitas saber
Yeah.
eso.
¿Dónde aprendiste eso? ¿Dónde oíste eso? Like everything was deflected. Like
Yes.
they was never answered. It was
Yep.
never, and if it was like this is like the last conversation. I remember my dad would always say like, no importa la cantidad de tiempo que le dedique a esta conversación, lo que importa es que el mensaje, que lo entiendas. And it was about like anything. And it was like, when he did sit down to talk to us, it was like this like last it always felt like it was final.
Yeah.
Like we're never going to have this conversation again. So sit
Again.
down and take notes. And it's
Mhm.
like and yeah, there was no conversation. There was
Mhm.
no communication of
Mhm.
any sort. And you know what, we did learn that because even with my ex-husband, because this is my third and final marriage, when I was married to my first husband, it was a very
Mhm.
short-lived marriage. And it was literally because Spirit was like, pa que nazca Valeria, right? Pa que nazca tu hija Valeria, te voy a juntar con este hombre, vas a tener esta hija que va a ser tu compañera por el resto de tu vida. And it's like, I swear my daughter was my mother in a different life. And
Oh.
so we have such a deep connection. And then when I married my second husband, it was so that I could have Anthony and Marissa. And so we have, my husband and I today have 5 kids. We're a blended family. There is no topic that is ever off limits.
Mhm.
No topic. And my husband and I have this rule that if your kids need to talk, you make yourself available.
Mhm.
And
Absolutely.
that is just the rule. And sometimes now, because time, boundaries, self-care,
Mhm. Mhm.
self-love, like sometimes I get to ask, like, thank you for sharing this with me. What do I need to tell you so that you feel okay in the moment, so
Mhm.
that we can pick it up tomorrow when we're a little bit more clear-headed, when
Mhm.
time is on our side, right? But I never dismiss them. Um, and that's a rule that my husband and I have today,
Mhm.
where that wasn't the case with my ex-husband.
Mhm.
We never had to consider them. We didn't have to run things by. What the fuck did they know? They're just kids. They're
Yeah.
just furniture, right? They're just dependents that we get to write
Mhm.
off once a year.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was horrible. Looking back now at my evolution as a woman, as a mother, as a
Mhm.
wife, you really appreciate the rock that the husband has to be in order for you to step into your fullness.
Mhm.
I couldn't have done this in a previous marriage
Mhm.
because I didn't have the full support that I needed in my husband. So en mi casa hay una armonía tan divina,
Mhm.
tan bien balanceada entre la armonía, la masculinidad y la
Mhm.
feminidad. There's
Mhm.
such a balance here in our home. And when there's an imbalance, we really feel it and we like, okay, what do we need to do? We
Mhm.
need to go away. We need to go to the mountains. We need a vacation from this.
Mhm.
Even if it's like 1 or 2 days, we need to reestablish that
Yeah.
harmony. Because sometimes when my husband was a very demanding job, he's a power lineman for NV Energy. He's a very demanding job. Hay veces lo normal de su trabajo son 100 horas a la semana. That's his
Wow.
average. And so sometimes those 100 hours turn into a little bit more, or sometimes it's
Mhm.
like he's working 24 hours, he's off for 8, he's working 24, he's off for 8, but in those 8 hours that he's off, I'm not available. So hay
Mhm.
veces que
Yeah.
son días que no nos vemos, and that puts me in fight or flight, right?
Mhm.
puts me in this toxic masculine state because I'm
Mhm.
go, 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 porque no tengo el apoyo de mi pareja. And it's like, well, then he's off, and then he's all, oh, babe, well, I need you. Like, I don't have time for you. And so we see the reversal of roles energetically. And so we know it's time to recalibrate. We gotta go. We have to leave, and we need to, or we just need to spend time together on
Yeah.
the couch, holding hands, doing nothing to
Doing
recalibrate.
nothing.
Yeah, and then it's like it's like como que se restablece
Mhm.
esa divina energía masculina y femenina.
Mhm.
So I want to know
I love
a little
that.
bit of the dynamics between you and your husband.
My wife.
Oh, your wife. Okay, please pardon me. You did
Okay.
say queer Latina, and
No,
absolutely. Okay,
no,
well,
no,
thank you for allowing me to amend that.
yeah,
Talk to me
no, of course.
about the dynamics between you and your wife.
It's okay. So, I mean, a lot of what you just said is it kind of feels that way. I mean, because we both have feminine and masculine energy
We all
within.
do, by the way. It's
Yeah, we
not
all
just
do.
queer people.
Right. Absolutely.
Everybody has that.
Everybody.
Because, and let me tell you why I had to point that out. Because I don't want to say I hate, but I hate
Yeah.
the question that
Oh,
who's the man and who's the woman? Like,
yes.
dude, it's 2026.
Oh, I know.
Okay, we
I
all
hate
have
that
masculine
question
and
too.
feminine energies. Okay, so tell me about the
Energies.
dynamics with you and your partner.
Absolutely. And she's in the medical field, so she has long, long, long work hours and long stretches of days of work. So when you were talking about how, your husband will go on this like long stretch and then you're in survival mode doing everything,
Mhm.
that is very similar to how it happens, with us because she of course works outside of the home and I work in the home. So constantly always here. So when she's gone for, got those long stretches of days, you can definitely feel it. But with us, thankfully, we've been together, it'd be 17, almost 18 years that we have been together. It very much so is a balance. When she's up here, I'm down here. Like when she's got the high energy, I got the low energy. When I'm not doing well, she picks up the slack. And how you said that I wouldn't be where I am right now if it was in this marriage, I couldn't have done it in a previous marriage. When you said that, that really hit because it's like, yeah, I wouldn't have been able to take all the time that I needed to really take care of myself, focus on my mental health, all of that, if it wasn't for having a safe environment and a safe relationship with my wife to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I didn't, that's like, oh, so I have to tell her that as soon as I
Oh,
am done. I am done with this. I have to,
because we're
I have
not
to tell
building
her.
this alone.
No.
And I think that our partners, que nos están mirando, nos están mirando a ti y a mí, ¿verdad?
Yeah.
Pero detrás de estas dos mujeres chingonas tenemos una red de apoyo que
Mhm.
quizás no son muchas personas, pero es
Mhm.
una red energética that is like, I got you. I
Yes.
I got you, right? We're surrounded by this beautiful, powerful energy. For me, it is that divine masculine being in my life who
Mhm.
has very divine feminine moments as well.
Mhm.
Because my husband is a crier. My
Oh,
husband he has broken all of that macho bullshit. Like he will sit and cry.
I love that.
And
Oh.
and nobody mocks him. Like nobody's like, no, like nobody, like because we know that that is sacred. And we also know that that means that he feels safe with
Mhm.
us,
Mhm.
where he doesn't
Yep.
have to pretend to be this. He doesn't. He can, there's no guard in this home, right? So just
Mhm.
like I feel held, he feels held. My kids feel held. And so it's this safe space that it takes more than one person to create.
Hmm.
I couldn't have built the business that I have. I couldn't have the time and financial freedom that I have if it weren't because I have somebody who is energetically carrying a lot of the weight that I can't carry if I'm going to do this, right?
Hmm.
Because what my clients come to me with is very heavy.
Yep.
So hay días donde yo no puedo porque he sostenido tanto para mis clientas because it's like I got you, girl,
Yeah.
right? Like, give it, put it down, let me hold it, go ahead and start healing, put it
Hmm.
down. But then it's like, what do I do with this, right? Like, I gotta let it go. I'm not gonna pass it on to anybody, but that
Hmm.
means that, hey, you have to hold me just a little bit longer while I work this out of me. And that's something que brujas, energetic healers, like light workers, like call us whatever you want
Hmm.
to call us,
Yeah.
but we have a mission
Yeah.
and we cannot do the mission alone.
Was that, amiga, was that easy for you to allow that, like for your husband to hold you and take care of you?
No.
Yeah. Same
No.
here.
I was
Oh.
I moved to Las Vegas. I've known my husband since I was in third grade.
Mm.
I moved to Las Vegas in 2013. We got married in 2014. It was probably that same year, maybe the following year, where I was on the phone with my sister. And I remember I was coming back from an appointment. I used to work at a funeral home. I was coming back from an appointment and I pulled over on it's Alta Drive. It's got like a higher elevation. I could see a lot of Las Vegas.
Mhm.
And I remember pulling over to the side of the road and telling my sister Maggie, why why am I in this marriage? He doesn't need me. Like what do I have to offer? There's like it's so good that I was waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Mm.
I could not understand why it was so good. I was
Mhm.
like, where's the struggle? I used to have that song in my head, like started from the bottom, now we here. And it was like, where is that journey in this marriage, you know? Like that was my anthem. And I could not understand it. And
Wow.
I would tell my sister, and my sister was like, are you stupid? Like, are you stupid? You finally have a good husband. You have a good man. You don't have to work so hard. You get to just be happy. You get to just be loved. Why are you having such a hard time with it? And it was like, why am I having such a hard time with it? Right. And that is where my coaching journey began because I did not know how to be happy.
Yeah.
I did not know how to let myself be loved.
Mhm.
I did not believe that I deserved it.
Mhm.
I believed that in order for something to be worthwhile, teníamos que sufrir y sudar la gota gorda,
Mhm.
para que valiera la pena. And it was like, but what if it just gets to be different? And though in coaching, I did my certification through NLP and transformational coaching method, which is a branch. I actually learned transformational coaching, which is a branch of NLP first. And then I
Mhm.
was like, why didn't I just go straight to NLP? Let me just go back and learn NLP. So then I did NLP. And then I did some hypnosis work. And it was like, well, what if my suffering is enough? What
Yes.
if I have suffered enough?
Yeah.
And it's not about paying the price. It's just that I don't, that's it. Like, I don't, it doesn't have to continue. And that was a whole new concept for me.
Right.
Y lo bueno es que mi marido siempre me decía, I'm not those guys. I'm not those guys.
Mhm.
I'm not I love you because you're youth. You don't have to prove it. You don't have to earn it. I just love you. And that concept was mind blowing. So
Mhm.
no, it was not easy.
Yeah.
And it has been pivotal,
Mhm.
monumental really in the building of my practice
Mhm.
because como me sentía yo, se sienten muchas,
Yes.
que no creemos que no lo merecemos.
Lo merecemos. Mm.
And we are so worthy of so much. And so here is my, we got married in 2014. It's 12 years later, hasta que la muerte nos separe kind of deal. But then
Mhm.
we've done, because I work with psilocybin sometimes. And
Mhm.
so we've taken a couple of journeys and it's like, we've been together for 13 lives.
Oh,
I think we were Egyptian warriors together once upon a time. So it's like,
amazing.
obvio que hasta que la muerte no nos separe
No,
porque,
no se
uy,
pare.
like, and I don't know, I do know, and I don't know how I know this, that I'm on my last life. Like
Mhm,
this is my last life. So
mhm.
make it count, porque
Make
ya
it
no
count.
regreso, right? Like esta es mi última vida y va a ser, la voy a vivir en grande y la estoy viviendo en grande.
Mhm,
Amo mi vida. And
mhm,
like you said, right? Like you have a great life, a great support system, and it's not common for women to say that, que
mhm.
amamos nuestra vida.
No, it's not.
Muchas toleran su vida,
Mhm.
pero no la aman. So tell me this. What is one thing you would tell a woman who is on the fence about I self-love coaching. I love my life. Like, what is the one thing that you could tell this woman that gets her to stop and say, maybe that is true for me. Maybe I need that. Maybe I
Mhm,
deserve that.
mhm.
What is one thing?
You know how we're always, it's so much easier to just be kind and be supportive a todos los demás. Like we know how to just lend an ear, lend a hand, un abrazo, todo eso. La cosa que siempre les pregunto a las mujeres that are struggling with this concept of loving yourself, and even how I look back to how I treated myself is like, would you kick a friend when they're down? Like, would you kick a friend when they're down? Like, if they're having a really hard time, they're going through something really difficult, would you respond to them? No, pues, ¿qué importa? No seas huevona, no seas floja, no seas, all this and all that. Like, think of the things that you say to them, how
Mm,
you support other people. How do we support our children? We try to be there. We try to love them, create safety. Why the hell can we not give that to ourselves? And what makes you think you don't deserve it, but everyone else does? And, when you take care of yourself, when you support yourself, it's a gift you're giving to everyone else. It is something everyone in your life is going to benefit from. There is nothing selfish about supporting yourself. And I know, porque self-love y esto, like I understand, it gets overused. It gets overused in the media and, it feels a little cringy or whatever. But when it comes down to it, it is basically, how do you support yourself?
how do you
¿Y
support?
cómo te apoyas?
Yeah.
¿Quieres hacer, do you want to be a friend to yourself, or do you want to be someone that kicks yourself when you're down and beats yourself up? And how encouraging is that? Because it's not. It's not encouraging, you know?
Yeah.
It
And
is.
then doing something radically different to interrupt the pattern, porque caemos todas en patrones, ¿verdad? And that's where
Mhm,
the, well, así soy, así soy. This is how
mhm.
I can't do it. I can't do it. I don't remember. It's like, well, and then the big question is the how. Well, how
Yeah.
am I going to do that? If I'm not doing it now, that means that I can't do it. So I always tell my clients, and I don't know if you've ever listened to one of my podcasts, but if you've listened to any of my coachings or like my posts, sometimes I'll talk about naming that inner voice.
Yep.
And I say, like, I need you to name that voice.
Yes.
And so y luego la dibujamos,
Ajá,
like this is
pinche,
Demetria, you know,
pinche Demetria.
pinche Demetria. And that's
Ajá.
that's my inner critic.
Yep.
And it's like, what does it sound like, right? What do they sound like? Because sometimes it's a female's voice, sometimes it's
Mhm,
a male's voice. So what do they sound like?
mhm,
Um, ¿Qué te está diciendo?
mhm,
Y cuando empieces a oír esas cositas, that rhetoric, it's like, whoa,
mhm.
okay, stop it right now, Demetria. Like,
Yeah.
no, Demetria, no vamos a tener esta conversación, right? And we recognize that that's just our ego.
Yes.
It's our ego really activating our nervous system, and it kicks into its own spiral.
Mhm,
Um, and we challenge that voice.
mhm.
And then I do not ever subscribe to the death of the ego. Even in
Right. No.
spirituality, like I don't subscribe to the death of the ego
Mm-mm.
because it's a part of us. It has
Mhm,
kept us safe. It is part of our defense mechanisms
Exactly.
that
It's
have allowed
purpose.
survival.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it serves.
So, how do we transform that from
Mhm.
a voice that limits us and wants to keep us really safe,
Mhm.
but it's not small, it's safe. It's trying to keep us safe
It's going to keep
to
us safe.
letting that voice believe that taking a risk can also be safe.
Mhm.
Doing that thing we love can also be safe. Saying no can is usually because it's not always safe to say no, especially if we are in abusive relationships.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
but most of the time, that's not the case, right?
Mhm.
Like sometimes saying no is totally safe.
Absolutely.
And doing something, even taking a pause, right?
Mhm.
Pero es que no sé cómo, ok, pausa.
Mhm.
Interrumpe el patrón tomando una pausa.
Una pausa.
Ya, en lugar de decir, ok, sí, o déjalo pienso. That is so radical. To be able
Mhm.
to say, let me get back to you
Let me get back to you. Let
is
me think
so
about
radical
it.
when the initial response is always yes.
Yes.
Sure. Yeah. Um, let me get back to you.
Mhm.
And so we'll practice it in coaching, right? Like,
Mhm.
let me get back to you. Let me, and they're practicing, and so you're feeling the resistance in the body, and I'll
Mhm.
ask, ¿qué te está diciendo? And whatever, like ¿qué te está diciendo Demetria? When I think about it, it's like Demetria saying they're gonna get mad at me. They're not gonna allow me in the circle anymore. They're not, and that's where we get back to
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
that generational stuff that we've survived. It's fascinating.
I love
Coaching
that you do the name. Mine is called Pinche Criticona.
pinche criticona.
That is my inner critic. And so, yeah, I had to give her that name porque cuando
Mhm.
está ahí chingándome, it's like, cállate, pinche criticona. And then, you
Yeah,
just tell that voice to shut up. You
I
know, and it's
love
like,
that.
I'm going to.
One of the things that I discovered after I drew her, I mean, this is a very old drawing. When I drew her, and I started working with her, like actually calling her by her name, y Demetria, y Demetria. I realized that she looks like a girl that I went to elementary school with in third grade. She
Wow.
was a bully and she would bully me. And I'm not going to say her name because I just don't know if she could be listening. I don't know.
Mhm.
Um, but she used to have the super curly hair and
Mhm.
the mole
The little
on
mole.
her face.
Oh.
And I remember that my sister had given me, my prima hermana had given me this like these Hello Kitty erasers. I've
Mhm.
shared the story before. These erasers for my birthday, and I had them in school one day, and she came up to me. She's like, "I like your erasers," and I said, "Thank you. They were a birthday gift." And she's like, "They're my erasers now," and she took my Hello Kitty erasers, and it was like devastating. But I did
Mhm.
not have the courage to take them back, to tell anybody. I mean, I literally just let her have it.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then, like, she would bully me. She was always like the captain, her and a different girl who also coincidentally had really curly hair. They were always like the captains of the dodgeball teams.
Mhm.
And I was always the last to get picked because I was overweight. Sports were
Mhm.
not my thing. And she did it on purpose. And I realized that several years ago that I'm like,
Wow.
oh, she looks like so and so. And now, como que con más,
Mhm.
cállate, Demetria. No vamos a tener esa
Mhm.
conversación. So,
Wow. So talk about healing your inner child.
talk about healing my inner child.
Mhm.
It is magical. So healing inner child. Do you do shadow work with your clients?
No.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
What other kind of work or tools do you introduce that would make a woman say, "Oh, I would love to try that with Marisol"?
So, because one of my favorite phrases, and this is how I kind of, how I reconnected back with myself is like coming home to myself using my breath.
Mm.
because that is one of, I'm really big on self-regulation and all of that amazing stuff that comes with breath work, meditation, breathing exercises. So that is one of the tools that I love to use is like, okay, well, whatever, it may be breath work for you, or it may be something else, but what can we do to help you come back home to yourself and ground with yourself and feel that safety within yourself and just, so how can we go about doing that? So a lot of self-regulation techniques, managing anxiety, coping with those skills with anxiety or depressive symptoms that make it difficult for you to come home to yourself. So do a lot of work with that, boundary setting, because I love boundaries and they have absolutely saved my life. Um, and self-care, the basics of self-care. And the self-care kind of covers the boundaries and the breath work and all of that and right, calming your nervous system, but learning how to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
How many, so many women that I talk to, like, don't even pause to just take a simple breath when they're overwhelmed. Don't pay attention to their bodies to, when they need to go use the bathroom. Like, we get so caught up in the day to day that even that'll skip our mind, like, oh, damn, I really have to go to the bathroom. But
Yeah.
why didn't I get up to go do it an hour ago?
Or why
You know,
don't I go do it, right? Because
exactly.
one of the things that I recognized was happening with me when I was really in survival mode. And trust me, I
Mhm.
it's not like, oh, you learn these tools and you're never gonna go through it again. Like it's just
Nope.
we're always because
Always.
and I tell them, as long as you have a human mind, like a human brain and a human body, you're gonna go through these things. But now you have
Exactly.
the tools to help
Mhm.
you get out of those phases because it could be a few hours, it could be a few days, it could be a few months. It helps you get out of that stage or
Mhm.
state even faster.
Ex-
Sometimes for me, it's like my brain, she's so like structured that
Mhm.
it's like, okay, I have to pee. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna finish here in the kitchen, and then I'm gonna go to the laundry room. I'm gonna throw in like the clothes from the washer to the dryer. I'm gonna throw this, and then I'll go to the bathroom, which is right next door.
Yes.
Like it has to,
I do the same thing.
and I'm like, okay, what if you loved yourself enough to go pee right now?
Exactly.
Like right now.
Absolutely. And that is self-love. Like, it is not this whole whatever
It's
people
not
think
go
they
get yourself a Louis Vuitton purse every
exactly.
paycheck.
No.
It's not a book an expensive massage. It's not it's
It's
just go pee.
it is like the basics, what are the basics of what self-care looks like for you?
Yeah. Drink
You know,
water.
drinking water, making sure that you eat at least one balanced meal, whatever that is, setting those boundaries,
Mhm.
um, overcoming negative self-talk también, because that's a big one,
Yeah.
changing the way that we speak to ourselves.
Because it's not, it may be the norm, but it is not intended to be the
Exactly.
norm. Just
Mhm.
like when we are given children as gifts, right? Whether we birth them or we adopt them or when they come into our lives, it's not intended to be the norm to talk to them negatively,
Exactly.
right? That's
Mhm.
not how we are intended to mother or
Mhm.
parent. That's not what is intended. So I
Mhm.
love that we're having the conversation about what how basic self-care
Yeah,
and self-love is.
absolutely. Absolutely. It
And
is.
they're foundational.
Exactly. And it's whatever you get to decide. I don't get to decide what loving yourself looks like. Loving yourself may be quitting that damn job that you're freaking tired of, leaving that relationship that's no longer serving you,
Mhm.
setting boundaries with your children. Like, self-love is just how you support yourself, how you take care of yourself, that relationship that you have with yourself. And always make sure to let my clients know is it comes with
Yeah.
a lot of unlearning and
Mhm.
relearning. But the good thing is that that's how our brains work. They
Yeah.
allow for us to do that. And that's the
Yeah.
beautiful thing.
I
That
love that. And I love reminding my clients, like, look, if you were able to learn this thing, that
exactly.
means you're able to learn this thing. And
Hmm.
if you taught yourself how to do this thing, then you can teach yourself how to do this thing.
Exactly.
And
Yep.
all things are true, right? And it doesn't discount the lived experience, and without there's no judgment. Yeah, a lot of us have had it really rough, some rougher than others. And
Mhm.
what matters is, what do you want from this point forward?
Exactly.
Right? Because
Hmm.
that is what we can impact, the
Hmm.
now and the forward. You cannot change the past.
Hmm.
And we can spend so much time in the past and
Hmm.
do nothing about it other than maybe change the way you see it. Or we could spend our energy talking about the now and
Yeah.
how to move forward.
Hmm.
And I love that coaching allows us to do that. So, para que nos estén escuchando, we are coaches, but we are not your coaches. So do not take what you learned today and like yes, if it works for you and it lands, try it out. And if you need support,
Hmm.
then reach out. And that is another act of self-love. Is
Yes.
saying, I
I
have a question. Like, I have a question. That is a form of self-love as well. And
absolutely.
so, ¿cómo se pueden comunicar contigo, Marisol, las personas que están inspiradas y que se sienten ahora preparadas para trabajar contigo?
Y me encantaría conocer a más amigas y trabajar con ustedes. My social media accounts are the best ways right now through my TikTok account at self underscore love underscore Marisol. And same for my Instagram account. You can go through both of those to connect with me via email
Mhm,
and we can, or send me a DM. Like it doesn't matter. We can get a conversation going anyway.
mhm.
But right now, social media is the best way. Or you can just send me an email to hello@selflovemarisol.com.
Hello.
Hello@selflovemarisol.com. And hopefully soon I can have my website. It is in the works, but because I'm juggling a million things at once. But yeah, send me a DM or connect via email through those links are both in my social media accounts. And you'll also see a link there for my link tree, and I've got tons of free resources on there as well en inglés y en español.
Uf, me fascina, me fascina.
Mhm.
Y dime, ¿ofreces alguna sesión complementaria, gratuita para
Yeah.
conocerte?
Sí,
Yeah.
podemos hacer una 20, 30-minute cita gratis para conocernos, para saber si, I am the coach for you, and if what you would like support with, if it is something that, I can help you with and I can help support you through that. So
Yeah.
absolutely free 20, 30-minute session. Let's get to know each other and yeah, go from
Yeah.
there.
And I love that you have that intro session because what the kind of work that we do as coaches is very profound, it's very vulnerable. So there must be trust. Y si en esa sesión
Absolutely.
inicial de 20 30 minutos complementaria,
Hmm.
gratuita, no hay química,
Yeah,
entonces esta relación no va a funcionar.
exacto.
No va a funcionar. So I'm really grateful that you have that. And I'm very grateful that you said yes to this interview and that you're here y compartiste tanta sabiduría con nosotros hoy día, lo básico y lo importante que es el amor propio. Yo tengo una camiseta que tengo que dice amor propio. And I have a lot of people that are like, oh, what is that? Amor propio. And I'm like, oh, amor propio means self-love. And I'm like, oh, I love that, y quien lo entiende, y quien no, pues al menos preguntaron.
Mhm.
I love what you're doing, and I love that even though it was a very kind of a lighthearted conversation because we didn't get into some very heavy things, um, I love that you're sharing your light and your medicine because we are all here to share
Mhm.
light and medicine, and yours is it's just it's life changing. So thank you for saying yes, and
Mhm.
thank you for sharing yourself so openly
Thank
with us
you.
today.
This has been so much fun. And thank you for sharing you with me and sharing your story and your journey. And sending you all of that love right back. I admire your presence. I admire you, how you show up, that you have been doing this for so long. I love it. And thank you so, so very much. I
I'm
really,
excited to
really
do some
enjoyed
further
this.
work together. Maybe
Yes.
maybe I will go to Central Texas and do some workshops because there is a thing that I'm working on and it's Spirit is telling me, lo puedes hacer virtual, eso es importante,
Uh-huh.
pero lo tienes que llevar a otros lugares. Spirit is asking me to get on the road with this.
Oh,
And
how cool.
so I know that the timing will be right when it is, right? We're never fully ready and also we're always ready. So I will know when that's time.
I'm going to write that down because I love that phrase. We're never really ready, but we're always ready. I mean, isn't that the damn truth?
It's true. Like it's true. Like take action now and
Yeah.
what works, keep it and what doesn't, pivot. Like it's that simple, you know?
Yes, exactly. Just like we tell our clients.
Yeah, exactly. We get to practice that too. So, thank you, Marisol. I'm going to sign off this Chingona Living Show. No te vayas para cerrar tú y yo privadamente, pero para las personas que nos escucharon, gracias por su tiempo, gracias por estar aquí. Espero que se comuniquen con Marisol. Si tienen alguna pregunta, she is love and light in this world, which we all need. So reach out to her. All of her contact information is going to be on the show notes. Thanks for being here today.
Thank
Las
you
queremos
so
mucho.
much.